like to see the officer writing that out. I guess to put Rose's feet into perspective, Greg, last month we saw Rod Carew, a hitter, a tremendous hitter we've talked about for many, many years, get his 3,000th hit. To imagine he's more than 1,000 shy of getting to where Rose did last night really boggles the mind.
I think so. And also you have to remember Pete Rose's situation in dealing with the media during this entire crunch. You may recall Roger Maris really didn't handle the situation very well when he hit 61 home runs in 1961. But you can't picture anyone handling it any better than Pete Rose did.
He's just a sports fan. He loves being in the limelight, and chances are he'll have plenty more times to do that, even if he gets a speeding ticket on Pete Rose's way. We'll see you later at 11:30 Eastern. I'm Chris Berman.
And I'm Greg Gumbel. Thanks for joining us.
This ESPN Sports Center has been brought to you by Michelob Light, super premium taste in a less filling beer. Who says you can't have it all? And by Easy Painter, the company that brought you the one-coater paint applicator, and now the new Easy Roller automatic paint roller.
Up on Speedweek, 2 share the last tango in Quebec.
Some fancy footwork saves the day in NASCAR.
And the hottest feet in town race midgets.
This and more coming up on Speedweek.
Speedweek is brought to you by B.F. Goodrich, makers of high-performance TA radials. We make cars perform. And by Pennzoil Motor Oil. Quality protection. Ask for it.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Speedweek. I'm Bob Jenkins.
And I'm Larry Newber. ESPN's Auto Racing 85 televised 2 races outside the United States last Sunday. One was the IndyCar race from St. Pete, Quebec.
Numerous accidents and a controversial finish were part of CART's second visit to Sanair Speedway near Montreal. Jack Arute reports on the Molson 200.
The race certainly didn't lack for excitement. Before the field of 25 could complete their first lap, Bruno Giacomelli spun, and the ensuing chain reaction put teammate Emerson Fittipaldi and eventually A.J. Foyt on the sidelines. Roberto Guerrero was the race leader, but it wasn't long before his day came to an end. The race's pole winner, Bobby Rahal, was the next leader with Al Unser Sr., Danny Sullivan, and Ari Leyendijk providing hot pursuit. Leyendijk's excellent run ended, however, when he lost a wheel and tasted Sanair's barriers. Pit stop shuffled the leaders, and Al Unser piloted his march to the front. The partisan Canadian crowd was not watching Unser, though. They were cheering their countryman Jacques Villeneuve, who methodically picked his way through the field to run second. Dennis Firestone's blown engine gave Villeneuve the race lead when he ducked beneath Unser, and Al found himself sliding through the oil and into the turn 1 wall. It was not to be Mario Andretti's day either. After running in the top 5 through most of the day, Mario parked his Lola with overheating problems. It looked like it would be left to Bobby Rahal and Villeneuve for the win when this happened. Both drivers escaped injury, and almost simultaneously, Enrique Mancella crashed in turn 2, and the extended caution set up one of racing's most unusual finishes. Johnny Rutherford followed the pace car as the race leader with Pancho Carter in second and Al Unser Jr. in third. The yellow remained out with the display of the white flag, but when the checkered flew the following lap, Carter punched the throttle and edged JR at the start-finish line. CART ruled that Carter had won the event because the green light was displayed on the final turn of the last lap and his move was allowable. Rutherford insisted that one cannot restart a race at the checkered flag, and victory lane was a confused display of charges and countercharges. For the moment, though, the trophies and the kisses belonged to Carter, with Rutherford finishing second, Al Unser Jr. third, Jeff Brabham fourth, and Danny Sullivan fifth. For ESPN Speedweek, I'm Jack Arute.
This dramatic race, which saw the top 6 in points all have trouble, results in a new points leader, Al Unser Jr. Mario and Al Unser remain tied at 100. Fittipaldi keeps pace, now 9 behind Jr. Sullivan is still a striking distance behind.
Rutherford's protest has been denied. Now that decision will be reviewed by a 3-judge independent panel next. Canadian Tire is trying to decide if it will buy a new car for Phoenix, Laguna Seca, and Miami. Both of their machines were destroyed last weekend, one by Villeneuve and the one by Jim Crawford.
The new Penske Chevy engine has been tested in England. It's said to produce 50 more horsepower than a Cosworth. Dallas and Toronto are said to be the only additions to next year's kart schedule. And rumors on both sides of the Atlantic have Ferrari in IndyCar racing next year.
Alabama may be in the heart of stock car country, but resident Ken Johnson makes one think it may be Super V land too. They ran at Sanair also. And although Johnson didn't win, his third place further cemented his points lead. A disappointing field of only 12 made the long haul to Quebec, and Californian Mike Groff glided onto the pole. That's rapid Davy Jones alongside. Groff, destined to be selfish with the lead today, beat Jones out of the blocks, even let Davy taste his inside about halfway. But perfect in traffic, never made a mistake, and he won, although Jones was always in sight. Johnson never challenged for the lead, but never made any mistakes either. Kerry Brin and brother Steve watched each other race long and were fourth and fifth. Jeff Andretti crashed in practice, started last, and labored to a sixth.
Coming up, NASCAR's Dale is in the pits.
While Tommy is anything but terrible.
BF Goodrich TA Radials update for enthusiasts. Subject adhesion. When rain comes down, one tire stands up. According to Car and Driver magazine, first in wet maneuverability and wet braking, first overall is the BF Goodrich Comp TA, with race-proven technology for excellent wet and dry adhesion. And the same technology that brings you the Comp TA also brings you a complete line of BF Goodrich TA Radials. No matter what kind of performance you want, we make cars perform.
To help get your car ready for fall, quality Pennzoil motor oil in this easy pour plastic bottle is on sale now. No coupons, no rebates, just real savings on all the Pennzoil you can get your hands on. So stock up now on that great Pennzoil protection. Quality Pennzoil in this handy plastic bottle and on sale. Now that's a real deal.
Billy Margolis hated to paint. Then he found Easy Roller, the roller that feeds itself automatically. Now Billy paints a room in no time. No messy pans. He just fills the Easy Roller tank once in a while and keeps on rolling. Room after room. It's fast and it's easy.
Hey, Mitch, do you have a room I could paint? Huh?
New Easy Roller by Easy Painter. It might make painting fun.
How many thousand times have we all heard the race is won or lost in the pits? Well, for Dale Earnhardt and Darrell Waltrip, that was never more true than in last week's Grand National race in Richmond, Virginia. Hungry Jeff Bodine is the first leader of this race. Morgan Shepherd is the reason for the first caution. After the first round of resulting stops, a unique marriage up front. Something old and something new. King Richard Petty gets around son Kyle and goes on to lead 80 laps, his first sign of strength this year. But nearer the end, Waltrip, who started 22nd, and Earnhardt looked like the ensuing boxing match for the win. During the sixth caution of the day, though, Dale and Neil Bonnet inadvertently punch each other in the pits, and Dale's chances are KO'd. During Waltrip's stop, Lake Speed is blocking the escape route. Suddenly, Darrell jams backward. Crewman Mike Hill climbs the rear spoiler. Neil is rammed, but Darrell leaves still in contention. Out on the track, he finds himself behind Harry Gant, whom he slides under, and champ Terry Labonte, whom he finesses under, taking the lead just 6 laps from the end and only his second win this year. He gains 53 points on Bill Elliott. The margin is now 153 with 7 races left. Those with the mathematical NASCAR shot yet: third, teammate Bonnet, 300 markers back, then Harry Gant and Jeff Bodine. Dale Inman, crew chief for Terry Labonte, has been released by team owner Billy Hagan so they can begin reorganizing for next year. Inman is returning to Richard Petty.
Since he became an occasional entrant in late model sportsman racing earlier this year, Tommy Ellis has competed in 4 races and won all of them. The most recent victory last weekend at Richmond. Points leader Jimmy Hensley started from pole position and jumped into an early lead, but the caution came on for Charlie Luck's wreck before 1 lap was completed. Ellis in number 12 took the lead from Jimmy on the 7th lap and led the remaining 143 circuits. Hensley finished 8th after experiencing tire problems. Dale Earnhardt in number 8, shown here battling with second place finisher Dale Jarrett, was moving up quickly, but was then black flagged. This trio of L.D. Ottinger in red, Jack Ingram in green, and Darrell Waltrip in red and white finished 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
The longest race in NASCAR modified racing was at Thompson Speedway in Connecticut last weekend. The front row was guaranteed from performances in earlier races, but it turned out to be a very appropriate duo. Richie Who Else Evans and Mike Magic Shoes McLaughlin, easily the fastest. The 58 cars that start this event on the 5/8 make rush hour freeway traffic look like child's play. With just 45 laps to go, Evans makes a calculated move, pitting for tires, while McLaughlin stays out during a late caution. Richie passes 25 cars in 35 laps on a track known for its one-groove modified racing and went by Mike with time to spare. McLaughlin suffered a flat on the white flag and is only rewarded with a 7.
Larry Moore won $18,000 by finishing first in the 15th Annual World 100 at Eldora. And there may have been a record set at Lebanon Valley Speedway in New York last weekend. 7 classes of cars attracted 306 entries. The main event was captured by Brett Hearn.
In our next segment, Alain trots and Keke stops.
And Wally waltzes by Willie.
For a long time, it was fashionable to be, fat. A man's weight was the symbol of his wealth, his power, his position. Today, the elegant man is trim and lean, and he wants great-looking shirts that show the shape he's in. John Henry, the fitted shirt. What a nice way to reward yourself for staying in shape.
Available at all Jordan Marsh stores.
Are you or aren't you going to order Cinemax?
Yes. No.
Okay, look what's on in August, then decide. How's more than 70 movies sound?
I know you guys talk my language.
Revenge of the Nerds, Streets of Fire, Red Dawn, Meatballs Part 2, Tex.
I think you're forgetting something.
Like Cinemax Originals, Harry Shearer on the Cinemax Comedy Experiment. Now are you going to order Cinemax? Call your local cable operator and tell him.
It's actually good for your television set.
Travel arrangements made through Eastern, the new leader in service to all the Americas, serving over 127 cities, 22 countries, and 1 magic kingdom. At Eastern, we earn our wings every day.
300,000 spectators attended and several hundred thousand watched here on ESPN as we televised one of the world's great sporting events, the Italian Grand Prix. Derek Daly reports.
At the start, the wild Italian fans saw Nigel Mansell almost cause a massive pile-up. Next, he, teammate Keke Rosberg and pole sitter Ayrton Senna banged wheels and drived through the dirt just to survive the first chicane. Horsepower is extremely important at the Monza circuit, and Rosberg showed the strength of his Honda engine. That's him, early out front, showing some Bobby Rahal sparks. Lauda moved to 4th until front wing damage cost him a lap. Prost passed Rosberg for the lead, and then Keke powered his way back to the front, racing behind Ferrari's Michele Alboreto, now almost a lap down. Keke's day ended in the pits, and Prost won, taking a giant stride towards a world championship. Piquet, Senna and Suhr 2nd through 4th, and 5th place finisher Johansson hitched a ride after the checkered from 6th place finisher Elio De Angelis. For Speedweek, this is Derek Daly.
17 Hart engines were destroyed at Monza last weekend, including 6 by the new Beatrice Lola. Patrick Tambay may be the 2nd Beatrice Lola driver next year. Teo Fabi has signed with Tolman for 1986. This weekend at the Belgian Grand Prix, Formula 3000 driver Christian Danner will replace Jonathan Palmer in the Zach Speed car. Palmer broke his ankle at Spa 2 weeks ago in a world endurance race. The South African Grand Prix is still on, but the date has been moved to Saturday, October 19th. And Brazil's foreign ministry has barred Nelson Piquet and Ayrton Senna from competing in the South African event.
Now, do you suppose that when the Four Tops recorded their hit record, it's the same old song they had this season's IMSA series in mind? Maybe so. Bob Barsha reports.
Sharing a brilliant drive with customary teammate Derek Bell of England, Al Holbert of Warrington, Pennsylvania claimed his 4th International Motorsports Association Camel GT title on Sunday, winning the Camel GT 500 Grand Prix at Pocono International Raceway. In winning, Holbert and Bell had to overcome some other great driving efforts. Californians Pete Halsmer and John Morton put their BFG-sponsored Porsche on the pole for this 500-kilometer race, then led early before a series of small mishaps put them behind. They eventually finished 4th. Frenchman Bob Wallach and his World Endurance teammate Mauro Baldi of Italy came together to bring Bruce Levin's number 86 Porsche home third. But the biggest threat to derail Holbert's title hopes came from the 12-cylinder Jaguar number 04 of Hurley Haywood and Chip Robinson. On lap 52 of 124, a long pit stop to fix a broken seat on the Holbert Bell Porsche number 14 put Haywood out front by 40 seconds. With 20 laps to go, Bell and Holbert had whittled that to just 17 seconds. Using superior speed on Pocono's long straights to offset the Jaguar's better handling, Holbert caught Robinson and passed him on the front straightaway with just 5 laps to go and edged away to win by just 4 seconds. The GTO crown for big engine production machines went to the Thunderbird of Darren Brassfield and Scott Pruitt. GTU honors for smaller engine cars was won by the Toyota Celica of Dennis Ossie and Chris Cord. Amos Johnson drove his Mazda through a morning downpour to win the Champion Spark Plug Challenge, and Tommy Riggins rode to his 5th win of the year in the Kelly American Challenge for domestic sports sedans. The next stop on the IMSA calendar is September 29th in Watkins Glen, New York. From Pocono International Raceway, this is Bob Barsha reporting.
Wally Dallenbach Jr. appears to be on his way to a Trans Am championship. He added to his points lead over Willie T. Ribbs Sunday at Mosport Park in Canada. The first 4 starters qualified within 0.4 of a second. Dallenbach was fastest, but Willie T. led into turn 1, followed by Paul Miller and Elliott Forbes Robinson. Miller was the first out, leaving the early battle to Willie and Wally. EFR finished 18th after going off course when an engine blew in front of him. Dallenbach passed Ribbs on the 34th lap for the final time and won by a half second. IMSA GTO champ John Jones was 3rd, Tom Gloy 4th, and Effie Wheatsey's 5th. Wally's points lead increases to 27 over Willie with only 3 races to go.
Formula Atlantic W cars at Portland Raceway last weekend. They should have called this Jeff Wood Benefit Day. He qualified on the pole. Local racer John Christian was 2nd, but Kensan Jeff Wood took off and simply led every lap. A Californian, Jimmy Santos, who hauled across country last week, was 2nd. Oregonian Ron McKay turned in a most consistent 3rd, and 2 of the stronger regulars had off days. Riley Hopkins dropped out running 2nd, and Dan Marvin gridded only 12th, but rose to 4th.
In our next segment, it's springtime once again in AMA.
While IHRA marks time in Rockingham. Stay with us.
For everyone working to keep the customer satisfied.
This bud's for you. Nobody else can do the job the way you do. So here's to you. For all you do, the king of beers is coming through.
Yeah, just for you. That distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do, this bud's for you.
There's been an important change in STP to better protect your engine. It's a new and improved formula. Now, here in your oil ways, STP fights to keep dirt and sludge from building up. This is a new STP, giving you extra protection from wear. Get new improved STP oil treatment.
STP is the racer's edge.
BF Goodrich TA radials. Update. For enthusiasts. Subject, tire testing. The proving grounds, the racetracks of the world. No test track can prove out street tires like a racetrack. And no street tire technology has been more thoroughly race-proven than BF Goodrich TA radial technology. 1982. TA radials become the first and only street radials to win in class at Le Mans. 1984. TA radials win Le Mans again on a ground effects prototype car, beating pure racing tires. Last year, TA radials won more professional off-road races than any other tire. More U.S. pro rallies, winning overall in all events. But even if we don't win, we always learn. The result, technology that's race-proven to bring you a complete line of TA radials for a wide variety of performance needs and driving styles. Making race cars perform helps us make your car perform. BF Goodrich TA radials. We make cars perform.
The Frontier 500, which begins in Las Vegas and winds through the Nevada desert, was held last weekend. Mike Botula reports on the outcome.
In a sport notorious for the punishment it hands out to machinery and drivers alike, the Frontier 500 is considered the toughest off-road race run over a single-loop course. This year's race, 536 miles. It turns out to be a pretty good day for Dodge superstar Ron Hall. He overcomes some early fuel consumption problems to notch his 4th consecutive Frontier 500 win in Class 4 truck competition. This year's race starts 30 miles south of Vegas, winds through Beatty and the mining towns of Goldfield and Tonopah, through the mountains to a colorful place called Gabbs, and then back through the harsh Nevada desert in places like Mina, Coaldale, and Silver Peak to finish in Beatty. When the dust settles, Larry Ragland makes it 2 in a row as overall champion. It's the 6th race of 8 jointly sanctioned by SCORE and the High Desert Racing Association. This is Mike Botula reporting on the Frontier 500.
We've drawn parallels between the careers of motorcycle racer Bubba Schobert and Formula One's Alain Prost before, and that scenario continues. Both have won more races than anybody recently, but neither has ever been champ. Both made steady progress toward their common goal over this past week. Hank Scott started in the back and came from seemingly nowhere to challenge for the lead. Then Bubba leads the white flag. Old pro Jay Springsteen soars from out of the sky down to the lead. Going into 3, it seems like Schobert in 3rd is in the right place, but a little too much layover, and by the time he looks back, Springsteen and Scott are gone. They cross the finish line side by side, and as this shows, it's Hank congratulating Jay on his 40th career win, the all-time leader. There will be 2 Camel Pro champions crowned next year, a dirt tracker and a road racer. Now, points in both Formula One and Superbikes will be awarded in the road racing division. If a rider competes in both divisions in the same weekend, his best finish will be counted.
The IHRA's 15th annual U.S. Open Nationals at Rockingham, North Carolina provided this excitement in an early pro stock round. That's veteran Don Nicholson sliding in front of Barry Shirley and hitting the wall after an oil line broke on his car. Don wasn't hurt. The pro stock finals pitted Darrell Alderman on the right against Ricky Smith. Smith gets the jump and leads all the way. It's his first win of the year in IHRA, but his 3rd straight victory here in Rockingham. Mark Oswald on the right lined up against Ed the Ace McCullough in the funny car finals. Mark comes from behind in the final 1,000 feet to record his first 1985 IHRA title. The 2-time IHRA world champ's last win came in 1984 at Bristol.
Some of the most legendary names in midget racing have won USAC's Hot 100 in Indiana. This year's favorite, Vogler. They start 11 rows of 3. That's Johnny Parsons Jr. up front. It's a hot day. He drew the #1 spot in trials and went fastest. A nice little contest in the top 5 among John Andretti, Larry Rice, Rick Hood, and Stan Fox. Then former winner Rice explodes a motor, almost bails out, and ends up steering with his hot feet. Vogler and Parsons exchange the lead twice. Later, JP looks at the right rear as the handle drifts away. Then Vogler runs him down again and wins. His 10th season and 3rd Hot 100 victory in a row, both records. Johnny hangs on for 2nd, followed by Hood, Tom Bigelow, and Mel Kenyon.
700 laps of racing face Vogler this weekend, the 100-lap Hoosier 100 dirt car race, a 100-lap USAC midget race, and then the 500-lap Indy Midget 500 at the Indianapolis Speedrome. Steve Butler scored his first USAC sprint victory Saturday night in Putnamville, Indiana.
Blaine Sneva and Jerry Vantright have been crowned co-champions in the USAC Washington State Regional Super Modified Series. World of Outlaw winners this past week, Jack Haudenschild, Ron Schumann, and Sammy Swindell. Steve Kinzer has clinched the title but has only 1 win since July 19th.
Here's this week's trivia question. Who has the most career Hot 100 midget wins? A. Mel Kenyon, B. A.J. Foyt, C. Parnelli Jones, D. Gary Bettenhausen, or E. Rich Vogler? We'll have the answer in a moment.
This bud's for everyone in uniform who keeps things running smooth.
This bud's for you. You know America takes pride in what you do.
Budweiser salutes all the men and women who have proudly served this great country.
For all you do, this bud's for you.
A Total Sports Sunday starts bright and early with live Formula One auto racing. The Belgium Grand Prix is one of the final events on the 85 International Tour of the world's best drivers. With the championship at stake, it's guaranteed to be one of the year's best races. Live Sunday.
Next, catch an hour-long look at Big League Baseball's best moments. It's the next edition of Major League Baseball's greatest hits, only on ESPN.
If you subscribe to the American dream, you should subscribe to the Wall Street Journal. Every business day, the Journal helps your American dream come true with complete coverage of your business, your money, and much more. Call toll-free 800-554-9000 and get 6 months of the Journal for $56. That's $7.50 off the cover price. 6 months, just $56. Call 800-554-9000 now for the Wall Street Journal.
Here's the answer to this week's trivia question. Mel Kenyon's only Hot 100 win came in 1967. Boyd is a two-time winner. Jones has never won. Gary Bettenhausen won only once in 76. Rich Vogler has now 5 victories in this classic in the last 8 years.
Hardcore racers plaintively search for something cheap but challenging. Well, our Rick DeBrule has found a group that combines both with a little flair.
When you first see these cars, all you can think is deja vu. Suddenly you've gone back to 1947 to a dirt track in some dusty Midwestern town. These cars sure look the part. But it really is 1985, and those cars are racing today. They're part of the National Dwarf Car Association.
What gives these cars their special flair isn't so much the way they look, but their size. Each one is a 5/8 replica of a car that was originally built back in the 20s, 30s, or 40s.
The rules are pretty simple. You build a body that looks like a 1929 to 1948 American car, 5/8 scale long, of course. The rest is up to you. Take engines, for example. There's only one rule. It has to come from a motorcycle.
As long as it's a motorcycle motor, we don't care. If it's Harley-Davidson, Honda, Yamaha. Modifications, put a blower on it if you want to.
Small tires and a 500-pound weight limit on the rear axle keep things from getting out of hand. But just because they're called dwarf cars, don't think you have to be a midget to drive one.
We got guys as tall as 6'4", weighing 240 pounds getting in these cars, and they make me look little.
It's the dwarf prices that make these cars especially attractive. $3,500 will put you in a car that can win. The rest is up to you. For Speedweek, I'm Rick DeBrule.
Now, to use Rick's line, they race only in Arizona currently, but they hope to get a little bigger.
This Sunday morning at 9:30, complete coverage of the Belgian Grand Prix from Spa. A report on that race and others next week on Speed Week. I'm Bob Jenkins.
And I'm Larry Newber. We leave you with more from the Hot 100 Midget Race.
Speed Week has been brought to you by B.F. Goodrich, makers of high-performance TA radials. We make cars perform. And by Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you.
Fly the friendly skies of United, serving more of the nation's top 100 businesses.